Okay, guys. So we had our game on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, and it did not go as Pats fans would hope. And we lost our first game in 83 days. And the funny thing is that it feels like the sky is falling. It feels like we got blown out instead of only losing by 4 points. And the fact that we scored 31 points is not too shabby, but it was Drake May's worst game of the season as far as like his passer rating goes. He was like a 62 passer rating on Sunday. And the funny thing about it is that his stats and Josh Allen's stats were very similar. They both had 9 incompletions, and Josh Allen had a little bit more yardage than Drake May, but not much. And they both threw for under 200 yards. Josh Allen did throw for more touchdowns, whereas Drake May had no touchdowns. All of our touchdowns came from rushing touchdowns, including 2 of Drake May's own. But it started out fabulous. And we went up 21-0, and then I don't know what happened. And I know there's been a lot of talk about the refs controlling the outcome of the game, and I don't want to be that person that blames the refs when their team loses, because the Patriots did give up a 21-point lead. That wasn't excuse me, that wasn't necessarily the ref's fault, but I will say they made some interesting calls, and the whole like clock situation at the end of the first half was weird. And like not starting the clock and then running it off, and there was like a whole 5 minutes of them just like really doing, not the Patriots and not the Bills. Like the coaches were confused, everyone was confused, the refs were just, it was a it was a really strange end to the first half. And then it was like the Patriots went into the locker room and came back out and forgot how to play football, because then all of a sudden the Bills like, but this is also what the Bills do. They get down so much that they have to come in the second half and like play to win. And at some point that's going to bite them in the butt. And if they make it into the playoffs and if they get sort of any type of deepness into the playoffs, like I don't think that they're allowing teams to score so much and then having to come back and play like a house of fire is going to continue to be a successful way to play football. Because the Patriots were getting by with like running the score up and then like pooping the bed in the second half and still winning. And it finally came to an end on Sunday. And I don't know, it wasn't a very pass heavy game that day. And I know it was inclement weather and it was snowing and it was windy, but we don't have a good running offense. And probably shouldn't have put the majority of the game into the running back's hands, because as you've seen all season long, we don't have the best running offense in the world. But I'm not a coach. What do I know? What I do like is the last touchdown that Travion Henderson ran for Drake May was his lead blocker. Drake May got up to like 20 miles an hour. That guy was hauling down the field and he sprung him to score that touchdown. And I was like, yeah, like we were going to win this game. Like even when the Bills are storming back, I was like, there's no way we're losing this game. And the refs did make an interesting call, I will say. We learned that, I mean, if you're a receiver on the Bills and you go up and the ball gets intercepted mid catch by the cornerback, and then you come down with the ball and you're trying to wrestle it out of the cornerback's hands, but then he ends up coming down with it, that's ruled a defensive pass interference. And even though it was an interception, it goes to the offense because the offense wins the tie. Don't ask me how that works, There wasn't really any pass interference. Marcus Jones got his head around. He had hands on the ball. Could you make the argument that the Bills are the team that the NFL wants in the postseason / Super Bowl because the Chiefs are gone? One could say. It was interesting to me. Like, I'm not going to blame the game on the refs because the defense should have shown up to play in the second half like they did in the first half, and they did not. And the offense should have shown up in the second half to play offense, and they did not. And I don't know if that was inclement weather. I don't know if that was play calling. I don't know what that was. But I do know that if you're going to call the game one way, you should call the game one way for both sides of the ball and not just one side of the ball. And if you're going to let, like, Mac Hollins had a catch that should have been a catch, but he was held pretty badly and no flag. But they were calling anytime the Bills stalled out on like a third down in the second half, there was always some sort of pass interference that, like, even with that Marcus Jones, where it was like, even though he intercepted the ball, the Bills get the ball because they win the tiebreaker of a catch plus 10 yards because it was a penalty. And that in and of itself, like, if that had been called in the Patriots' favor, I would understand why the fan of another team would be like, what just happened? Like, I would get that. So it was just it was a weird game all the way around. It was like, once the weird clock stuff happened, the Patriots like got out of a rhythm that they couldn't get back in. But honestly, I would rather lose now and have that loss come now and be reminded that we're not invincible now than in the playoffs. So that way, when we get to the playoffs and things are blowing and going, like, I want to go and I don't want to lose. And I want to, like, think back to that, oh man, if we had beat the Bills, then this could have been our path to the playoffs because the Broncos won. And so unless the Broncos lose out the rest of the season and we win out the rest of the season, we don't have the number one seed. That means we don't get a bye week. That means we don't get home field advantage. And I don't like this new playoff, like, thing that they have going on where only the first seed gets the bye and everyone has to play. Like, I don't like it. I want to go back to the days of old where the 1 and 2 seed got the bye and the number one seed got home field advantage. And like, you were playing for home field, but if you got the second seed, like, no big deal because you at least got a week off. Like, thankfully, our bye week came pretty late in the season and we are getting healthy. And thank goodness there weren't any major injuries on Sunday. Like, Drake May did scare me a little. He went down and then it took him a couple to get up, and that was a little bit scary. But, like, it was just a weird game. It was weird reffing. It was weird coaching. It was weird weather. It was just weird all the way around. And we lost. And even though we lost by 4 points and it was 35-31, the sky was falling. The way it felt was that it was like 35-0. It felt like a shutout. Like, it was just a really, like, weird, disappointing, didn't love it game. But now we regroup. Mac Hollins said it best. If you take a potty, you don't just sit there looking at the potty in the toilet. You flush it and you move on. And so I think that's what they are going to do. And they're going into Baltimore Sunday night primetime football because our game got flexed into primetime from a 1 o'clock game. So it's going to be a late Sunday night for me, but we have not lost on the road yet. We do really well on the road. And now we're going to have something to prove because now all of a sudden the sky is falling and New England's not that great and their schedule is so easy and they got exposed and blah, blah, blah. So they're going to have something to prove. And does it matter that it was a pretty good football game, a pretty high scoring football game? No, Does it matter that we didn't get our doors blown off? No. Does it matter that we beat the Bills already? No, it doesn't. We have the easiest schedule in the league and we're frauds. That's what I've been hearing day in and day out all season long. And now we just have something to prove on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens, and Lamar Jackson is pretty banged up. And does that mean that he can't be as mobile and he has to stay in the pocket? And when he stays in the pocket, he's maybe not as accurate. Just defense, please. I beg of you. Don't forget how to play defense on Sunday, because you came out in the second half and you couldn't stop a marshmallow in the rain that was melting. You just couldn't do it. And it was really frustrating. And so I don't want to see that again. Thank you. So hopefully, come Sunday, we win a game, we start a new streak, and we go on and we win the Super Bowl, because honestly, that would be the coolest thing ever. And Drake May doesn't want off-season accolades or in-season accolades like MVP. He wants Super Bowls, and that's my quarterback. Oh, but did you guys see that the Dolphins cut Matthew Judon today? So I would just like to say, since our pass rush is atrocious, Mike Vrabel, if you want to go and re-sign Matthew Judon, who was a Pats Nation favorite and a phenomenal player, I wouldn't be mad at it, because we could use some help. So listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. And hopefully we start a new win streak on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. And let's go, Pats.